How's it going, guys? In today's video, I'd like to show you how you can increase profitability, book more qualified calls, and overall have more confidence when it comes to scaling your ads. Disclaimer, not going to give you any marketing strategies, scripts, or optimizations. I would just like to share a framework or a thought process that we use with every single client of ours. So if you sell a high ticket offer and you run paid ads, well, this is for you. If not, you can click off or you can still watch, really up to you. But in terms of the most common places of managing marketing performance are either, native ads managers, so Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, or Hyros if you're actually investing into your business. In terms of the main metrics that are being tracked, well, you should track the mandatory ones are cost per lead, right? So how much money do we have to spend in order to generate a lead, cost per call booked, how much do we have to spend for someone to book a call, and cost per acquisition. In order to close one client, we have to spend X amount of money. While these numbers or metrics should be mandatory, like I said, they're very surface level. What does that mean? They give you the high level overview of how your marketing is doing, but they lack the ability to explain why is that. So before I dig deep and tell you exactly what to do, there's a difference between tracking your marketing performance for low ticket products and high ticket products. Low ticket products meaning, e-commerce brand selling blankets, whatever. The customer journey is very straightforward, and you're able to track every single step of the journey, right? So you run an ad, lead sees it, clicks on the website, and checkout page, boom, you can track every single step of the process. But when it comes to high ticket products like agency service, coaching program, it's not as straightforward, right? Because what happens after a call in 99% of the cases is not being tracked, because there's no way for you to set this up, right? When you want to track some certain actions, you set up pixels, but after someone books a call, there are so many variables that it just becomes impossible to track, right? And even with Hyros, it gives you precise numbers or more precise numbers, but it lacks the ability to track it beyond booking a call. So usually you, as a high ticket business, you optimize for booked calls, but when the data inaccuracy stacks up over time, it gives you a false narrative or how your ad's doing and what to do next. So we have to track what happens after the call. I advise every single one of you to implement cost per show. So how much money do we have to spend for someone to book a call and show up? Why is this important? Well, because if someone books a call, that certainly doesn't mean they're qualified, right? This metric alone will communicate, is this a marketing or sales problem? But mainly gives you an idea of how much cash you pay extra for someone to show up, right? Is it by $100? Is it by a few extra bucks? It also helps you to make a better or more accurate decision when it comes to scaling your ads, right? So obviously the goal of this metric is to drive it as close as to cost per call booked. While this number is super useful, it still does not give you a clear picture. What do I mean by that? So right here in front of me, I have a data spider web, or you can call it a tree or whatever, but I would like you to think about data and in this sense, right? So you have the main metrics, the main overview, and then these metrics are a mix of other metrics, and other metrics are a mix of bunch of data points. Same thing with sales. So you have show rate and close rate as a high level overview. So you see that our sales team is above the KPI, but it doesn't necessarily tell you why is that. So I want you to think about data in this sense, where you can break down each metric to another metric to another metric, etc., etc. So right now I would like to show you that one of our clients was paying twice as much for short calls, and kind of what we did to break it down and identify what is the problem, right? Disclaimer, this is all dummy data for demonstration. So first things first, their cost per lead was one of the best I've ever seen. Above the industry standard. Like most people pay this for cost per click, they were paying this cost per lead. Now the main problem was they had actually no idea what's the cost per call booked. So we kind of took a step back and gathered all the data. Now when I refer to a cost per call booked, it means any lead that has booked a call, and no matter the outcome, whether unqualified, a qualified, showed, no showed, it doesn't matter. Now, we have to get the cost per showed, right? So how do we calculate this? Is we are taking the ad spend, dividing that by number of live calls, so people that showed up. Like a quick example where, let's say a CPC is $300, their cost per show was $600. Now we have to dig deeper, right? What does that actually mean? So we have to break down each call status. So we either have live, no show, canceled. You can track, reschedule. We don't track that, but those are, I guess, the three main statuses. But then we still had the question, why is cost per show so high? And what we discovered is that a lot of calls are just being canceled. Okay, what do we do about that? So we break it down. So you see, you went from up, you break it down, you break it down, you break it down, and then you get the insights you need, or the data that kind of explains the situation, right? So the cancel status, we divided that into two categories: canceled by the company and canceled by the prospect. In this specific situation, when it's canceled by the company, it's always unqualified lead based on their application or any other criteria. And when it's canceled by the prospect, that could mean many things, but let's just say it's on the sales side that the sales rep doesn't follow up enough to make sure that the prospect actually shows up. So let's say, just for example, this case, you have 100 canceled calls and majority of them are canceled by the company. Well, what does that mean, right? That means most people are just unqualified, and it doesn't matter if the cost per lead is super low. So many unqualified people are coming through the funnel, and we don't want that. Right. Then again, you can display the data in a different way where you compare it, right? So if I see, I booked 10 calls and only 2 of them show up, there's a problem. Also, just a quick tip for anyone building charts or whatever and trying to look at insights, you always use bar charts. It's much easier to understand the difference rather than doing a line chart or even like a pie chart. So here's the example, right? The breakdown. So we got marketing spend, then we take the leads, we get the cost per lead, then we look at the booked calls, how many calls we booked overall, then how much does it cost, then showed calls, so how many people showed up, and then we get the cost per show. So again, at the bottom here, 100 booked calls, okay, 30 canceled. Out of those 30, 20 were by the company, 10 by the prospect. If it was the other way around, you could dig deep into the numbers of each sales rep and kind of identify if they're following up, if they're not, what's their show rate, etc., etc. And again, simple breakdown about this is how I want you to think about data, metrics, insights overall, right? So you have the company, and then you have overall performance of the company. Then we have, we run paid ads and we have organic marketing, right? So each could be broken down, right? So you have on the paid ad side, you have campaign 1, campaign 2, campaign 3. Each of them has a different performance. Then you can take them and combine them together. But when you break down everything to the smallest detail you can, you get so much insight and so many actionable steps of what to actually do. So in order to actually get the insights and get the next steps, you have to track it somewhere, right? So I made these 2 videos about tracking closers and setters. If you don't already track it in like a Google Sheet or a CRM, make sure to refer those 2 videos. I break down every single metric and how to go about this. Now, the next steps, what I would like you to do is export how much money you spent in the last 3 to 12 months. If you take the larger portion, which is like 12 months, it's going to give you a much more accurate picture of what's going on, right? So you can do this either overall, so for all the campaigns, or by campaign. Now, by campaign, this only applies if you track it somewhere. So if John B booked a call from this campaign, I have it either in a CRM, in a Google Sheet, in anywhere. If not, then you have to do overall. So, but I advise you to set this up. In one of those 2 videos, I talk about where they're actually coming from, how to track it in terms of lead sources. So then you take how many calls you book to get the cost per call booked, how many people showed up to get the cost per show, so marketing spend divided by live calls, and then how many people were unqualified. For every single company, this is a little bit different, right? But just identify who's the unqualified lead and just break it down and dig deep. Like I said, you can get very granular with the data. So for example, you have cost per show, and then we can break this down to cost per offer, right? So how much does it cost for us to actually offer to someone? And like you can get very, very detailed into what's actually happening. So yeah, this has been everything, guys. I believe if you implement this framework or this thought process right away, it's going to give you a better picture of actually what's going on. And then maybe you can scale your ads immediately if you see, okay, this campaign is performing much better than this one, but the numbers in our ads manager don't really align. If you run a high ticket offer, doing over 100 grand per month, and you want to scale with data, make sure to book a call down below, where we'll build you a custom analytics dashboard to communicate the insights that we need for you to scale. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you. Bye.